What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a different kind of episode. The NHL season has come to its conclusion. It's been a fantastic year. And now, rather than yesterday's video, where I'm just going to spend 8 minutes lambasting all of you, this is going to be a video where I'm going to spend, I don't know, an indefinite amount of time educating you and preparing you and making some educated guesses and also giving you some news update. Ton of stuff to talk about today, and we've brought on somebody who has educated us multiple times. I am very selective about, because now, I mean, everyone under the sun claims they're going to give you the inside. My own videos on YouTube are interrupted by ads from another guy on YouTube saying, do you really need to win your hockey bets? As I'm trying to give them a winning hockey bet. But Josh is somebody, before I even brought him on, steered me in the right direction in terms of, I didn't even know that existed. I did not know that that even existed. And the thing that I'm going to talk about when it comes to that is the 2-point line mate combos, who everybody on the Patreon knows, and everybody now, I know the odds have gotten worse, and I probably screwed you on that front, John, because I've sent an army of people over to Bet365 to nail those things. But I do want to show you, I did, because I'm not going to do them in the playoffs. I don't care. I know sometimes players, there's a reason every single goal total is now at 5.5 when every single one for the most part was at 6.5. I call this clenched ass cheek territory, where nobody wants to make a mistake. Nobody wants to be the person whose name is up on the wall because they screwed a team. And I think this is when it becomes more defensive, so I'm not even taking calculated odds on that. But I do want to show you the results. Josh introduced us and me to this, and I know people curse on the comments of the YouTube videos because, I don't know, you're in a state that doesn't have Bet365 and you're jealous that people have won some of these. But after we introduced these, here are my results for this season. The only bets that I put in on Bet365 are the 2-point line mate bets. So this was my test to see, because you can lose so many of them and end up in the profit. Now, let me see if I could pull this up there. Look at that. Direct correlation to when I started putting them on. 3 months, all winning months. And those are all 2-point line mate combos. So I am excited to have a full season of this next year. And I kind of want to thank you for bringing that to my attention, because it's been not a lifesaver, but it's been an additional building block that has been great for me and everybody who watches my videos and everybody on the Patreon. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have casually seen that when scrolling on Twitter. So thank you for that.
No worries. But like, you're a guy who likes to look into, I don't know, see the correlations between every play, see where it is, see, well, that seems a little high. Let's dig into that a bit more. And with hockey, there's a lot of them. In baseball, there are too, but especially when you can get ahead of the market with, I still don't think line mates are priced properly. The 2 points have certainly come down, but you can still get like Kadri and Kuzmenko for like plus 140 is still a great buy when one guy's minus 200.
Not last night, but the night before that.
Kadri didn't show up, but he had 1,200 shots.
Well, I always look at it this way. They just paid you out a bunch of straight times in a row. 2 out of 3 Meatloaf said ain't bad. Well, they hit 3 out of 4. So you don't have anything to complain if they lost it for you on that last night.
It was a good one.
But the Jets, 2 games ago, I took Toffoli with Ehlers because Monahan's on that top power play. And as I've explained many times, we want that same line, same power play correlation. Both of them got 2 points, plus 2,200. Not 14. Those are great players. Those are great players, plus 2,200 in a game, and we nailed that one. You can. So I think
there's a correlation between how powerful that first power play unit is, and that's really priced in. But the secondary one, like guys like Philip Deneau and Trevor Moore, who are line mates but also play second power play, they're in that 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. So there's still some there, but it takes a lot more digging than it used to.
That's just life in general. Like if you wanted to do something, you want to be an Instagram model, Yeah, the first couple of nice asses out there, they had an easy rise to the top. Then an army of asses came in, and it was hard. It was
Yeah.
hard to separate the asses. How do you like that for a reference? Now, a lot of people have been asking me, so Andy, are you just going to kind of disappear for a couple months? We know you did that last time. And typically, I would say yes, because one thing that you guys know about me, I'm not very fraudulent in terms with the way I think about things. You know how I felt yesterday. You know my opinions on people who, my thought is, like, if I listen to somebody on sports radio and they have these takes, I go, well, that's pretty interesting. He could be right about that. But then if they veer into a lane that I'm very well educated on, and I hear them say something about hockey that's just preposterous, I now delete every last thing I've heard them say about every topic under the sun. Everything. Their science experiment now means nothing to me. So I made it a point not to just try to say, oh, guys, we got this huge MMA show on Saturday. I'm going to tell you how this guy's, how Justin Gaethje's going to avoid the arm bar. Now, I'm not going to do that. However, something that I will do is try to entertain you guys while also giving you your fill of educated sniffs. So what we're going to do in between hockey and the football season, I'm bringing on Josh, and he was down for this. He borderline suggested it. So this is not like a gun to my head. A lot of you guys requested stuff in between the year in the seasons because you want to be watching. So me and Josh and I are going to do a show called I Hate Baseball, because I hate baseball. My ex-girlfriend used to go to Orioles games to study for finals. That's how boring that sport can be. However, you guys know the deal when it comes to sports betting. I said you could make the most boring activity in the world the season 4 finale of Game of Thrones when Tywin Lannister is on that toilet and Tyrion comes in with the crossbow. Oh, are you on season 3 right now and you didn't get to that point? I don't give a rat's ass. It's years later. You shouldn't have to know or have me spoil it for you. So if we can make baseball exciting, Josh is literally going to be responsible for making me at least hate baseball a little bit less. And he's going to do that by bringing in the same level of creativity, because I know what he does on the hockey front, and I will guarantee, like Vince McMahon guarantee, that he's as good as it can. Like, he actually can. He posts his transparency reports. I don't give a rat's ass if you guys lost everything you ever grew up with. It's not... My responsibility is to make the words ha, ha, ha come out of your mouth. Josh actually cares about the other side. He's got transparency reports. He's got all this stuff, and he knows how to give out good sniffs in the long run. So he's going to do that for everybody here. We're going to do his show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's going to post his picks on my Patreon in the morning so that everybody gets the best prices, and I'll let him explain, because I don't know a lot about baseball betting, but apparently the prices move in a hurry.
Yeah, so we'll be dropping the plays early in the morning, hopefully around 7 o'clock. That's kind of the secondary price movement of the day. The first is right at the crack as soon as prop market, but we're not going to be that guy. There's still plenty of value to be had. We'll be using a lot of the covers player prop projections, which, I mean, jump over there and take a look at them if you want to sniff your own ways. It's just so easy just to see, oh, okay, 15 outs is the market. Projection 13.8, got some value there. But in that same sense, and in an Andy fashion, we've got to make it a little entertaining. Andy can't sit there and watch 9 innings of baseball. We got to get in and out. We can't, like, he's not going to watch a full game money line for minus 125. There's not a chance. So we're going to have to look for stuff. We're going to have to get creative like we always do, like we did with hockey, and look at some other markets. So just today, we're going to go Alec Marsh, Kansas City starter. Under 15.5 outs, minus 125. That's a DK. It's about minus 145 everywhere else. Covers player prop projections has it for 13.8. We can get you in and out of this game by 5 innings, Andy. And
I can do that.
Some great closing line value.
I can do that. I can do 5 innings. I can do 5 innings, hopefully. And now they got that. They still got that pitch clock?
Oh, they got pitch clock. Now you don't have to see the revolving door of relievers. You're good.
Oh, my God. It used to be Mike Scioscia used to walk his ass out there. That was my big problem. He'd walk out there. This should be illegal in baseball. He goes out to the mound and just goes, what'd you have for breakfast? Did you go with the Captain Crunch? You want Captain Crunch? Did the roof of your mouth get cut? Oh, you gotta let the Captain Crunch get a little soggy. All right, I'm gonna walk back now. Now the whole momentum's been taken out of the game, and we're back. I can't stand that. So,
you're not far off. When I used to coach girl softball and like things were getting slow, I would go to the mound and just tell them about some dumb thing I did over the weekend. So
yeah,
pretty
the
much
Captain Crunch conversations. That's exactly what happens on the mound. And then by the end of it, nobody cares about what's happened anymore because the full momentum's out of the game. Correct. I don't know how that's not illegal. Hopefully that's the next clock or whatever limitation that they set out there. But at least we got this pitch clock and a 5.5 inning bet. All right, I can handle that. So the bet was
Alec Marsh under 15.5 outs, minus 125, 5 point, maybe minus 135.
Wow. We're talking about outs. I'm really going to need to
edit. Hey,
I'm gonna
Orioles, buy myself that boring Orioles team, pretty good now. So let's go.
Okay. So the Orioles are good these days?
Yeah. They're loaded. Yeah. The
Orioles are, wow. For years, it was just the Yankees and Red Sox paying. Well, not in baseball. Baseball, you lose, you finally get a good player, and then he goes to the Yankees after 2 years. That's kind of
it's a new world of baseball. We'll teach you about it all over the summer. But before we even get there, we got to cash in on NHL playoffs.
Absolutely, and I know that's why the most of you here. So we're going to talk about some playoff bets, kind of things on an overview. Maybe I'll tell you who I like in terms of conference. I know you guys probably want who's going to win the Stanley Cup. As we've told you many times, the better team doesn't win in individual games, and many times in series. Teams will outplay another team in a series and somehow lose, and many times those teams have gone on to win the Stanley Cup. Like, I know the Pittsburgh Penguins were absolutely outplayed by the Washington Capitals the year before the Capitals won the Cup. The Capitals had a better team, lost that series. Pittsburgh goes on and wins the Cup. It happens all the time. So it's pretty difficult, but I kind of like my pick. I said it before the year. I almost believe those teams who are just right there, they're right there. Those are the ones most likely to get over that next little hump. Last year you saw it with Vegas. They've made a Stanley Cup. They had another two conference finals, I believe, or one other conference final. They had their growing pains. Call them Mike Seaver, but the Carolina Hurricanes have been right there. I picked them to get to the Cup before the year. My Cup final picks before the year were the Edmonton Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes. My bet long-term for the entirety of the playoffs, the one that I put was the Carolina Hurricanes. I found it for, I didn't go extensively digging because I assumed I wasn't going to get a much better price, but on Caesars, I saw them listed at like plus 320, opposed to some sites that had them at like plus 290 or something like that. That's what I'm going with. When I look at playoff futures, I always look at the bracket. Is it a scam bracket or is it not a scam bracket? The Islanders were in the conference finals twice in a row. Were they one of the best teams? No, they got the scam bracket each time. I wish that wasn't the case, but they did. You get the bracket, you get the best opportunity to. They play the New York Islanders in round one, and then, yes, they play the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers in round two.
Nah.
If you look at their 5-on-5 numbers, there's a reason they're like the sixth Cup favorite. They are a very beatable team. And then
couldn't even beat New Jersey last year. They bounced out to New Jersey in round one.
2 straight years, because the problem is I seem like an Islanders fan talking bad about the Rangers. The Rangers have an unbelievable goalie and an all-world power play. The last 2 seasons, the millisecond within the game that those went dry, they lost every single game. Essentially, they went through.
Why the Islanders have a chance?
They went through the Carolina. They went through the Pittsburgh Penguins, then the Carolina Hurricanes, and then they were up 2-0 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're up 2-0 in Game 3 on 2 power play goals. Didn't score any more power play goals. They scored 1 at the very end of Game 6, but they lost 4 straight games after that. Once that power play went, if you keep them 5-on-5, they lose. 2 straight years when they were kept 5-on-5, they lost. So the minute that dries up, I think that's it for them. And considering that Carolina has top 5 power play, top 5 penalty kill, I give them the edge. They just have everything this year. 6 defensemen, literally 6 deep defensemen. Goaltending is irrelevant when it comes to them, although Freddie Anderson played great during the playoffs last year. They have depth, top 5 power play, top 5 penalty kill, a team with experience who's been right there. They're my team out of the East. So them to win the East, anything can happen in the Cup final, like the Super Bowl at +3 something is one of my favorite long-term plays for the playoffs.
I'll give you credit. Carolina, Edmonton final, +1400. That's about as short as a final combination exists on the odds. So if you had to pick the favorite, that's it. And that was before the season.
So that was the favorite before the season, interestingly enough. Do you want to know last night? It was +2200 during the late games because the sports books price in the brackets correctly. So once Vegas went down, once Vegas was out of there, because remember, they were supposed to play Vegas.
Yeah.
The odds were way worse, and I would make them way worse. The reason
and that makes sense because I think they've overvalued Vegas at +110 to win the series anyway.
But do you get what I'm saying? They know that, like, Edmonton beating the Kings, who they've already beaten twice in a row, and then after that, you're going to get an inexperienced Canucks team or an upstart feel-good story out of nowhere Nashville team. Those are 2 extremely winnable series. So while I think Edmonton would absolutely not make it out of that top bracket, they have a great chance to make it because they don't have to deal with those juggernauts up there. So that's how I always look at futures. It's not as much necessarily to do about the quality of the teams. Everybody loves Florida and the way they play. But I'll tell you what, you got to get through Tampa and either Boston or Toronto just to then get to Carolina or someone like that, maybe the Rangers. So that's a nightmare road. I take the road that's easiest to travel when it comes to
my favorite thing about last year and what Carolina is this year, the loss of Andrei Svechnikov to Carolina last year was massive. That was like losing their best player. Now this year, if they lose Svechnikov, who's playing on the second line, like, okay, sure, we can still get by, no problem. He's not even on our first line. It's still like losing Jarvis might hurt more than Svechnikov right now.
Yeah, tons of depth there, but I guess I'll kind of leave that. I'll leave that where. Did you give out anything like that? Is there anything you particularly like? Anyone? Because I know anything can happen in any of these series.
I don't like. I'm so Conn Smythe. I think there's more bigger numbers in Conn Smythe. So if I like Carolina, I'd probably be like, well, I'll probably avoid goaltenders because they'll probably be a tandem. Probably avoid Svechnikov, who's overpriced and still not first line. Gensel's always like, look at the point marker. Gensel's like just the shortest person in the world. And I'd probably go someone like Seth Jarvis just because of the value of what goal scoring is. And Jarvis he's a Cy Young guy. You know what I mean? 30 goals, 20 assists. He's a heavy goal guy. So that's kind of what I like on that side if I was there. I just love finding like 100-1 Conn Smythe. I do. Like,
then I'm
gonna win, but I'll take them.
I'm gonna tell you about one brought to my attention. Then, what odds can you find on Adam Fox, who is going to be closely affiliated with almost every single Artemi Panarin point? If Panarin, by whatever chance, falls short in the playoffs again and doesn't live up to the expectations, those heavy expectations set upon him, because there's a lot of pressure on him to perform, Adam Fox is a guy who's going to be directly tied to the New York Rangers' success outside of Shesterkin and Panarin. He's essentially the 3rd most important player on the team, and if his odds are considerably worse, then that's definitely something. The odds will change instantly once he has a few good games. So that's one. You like that, Rangers fans? I'm telling you, Adam Fox is a good value to take for Conn Smythe to do what? Win the Stanley Cup. So
looking at 25-1.
Look at that. That doesn't even tickle Josh's fancy anymore.
Oh, wow. What a price discrepancy. Bet365 +2,500. FanDuel plus 6,500. That's huge.
There's a chance, I'll double check right now, that ESPN Bet even has it higher than that. Another series that, because so many of them go either, yes, we know the Islanders aren't winning that series. We know the Capitals aren't winning that series. But I'll tell you, if there's a team ripe for an upset, it's those Vancouver Canucks. The mindset that Nashville has brought, I think this was one that maybe, did I see you lean towards Nashville as well?
Yeah, I got Nashville at plus 140. They, Carlo's on the other side. Carlo's I think we're discrediting Vancouver in this spot, but Vancouver has next to zero playoff experience within the team, right? They're being a team that's, you know who led them in goals over the last 20 games since March 1st? Connor Garland. Connor Garland leads that team in shots on goal per 60, shot attempts per 60. I mean, the split up of obviously Pettersson and JT Miller and Brock Besser in that situation, it hasn't really done a ton for their offense. Demko's played 2 games since he's been back, and Nashville's just a barn that they did get swept, 2 years ago or last year? The Colorado year they got swept. But this is a team that has a little more playoff experience. You talk about Adam Fox. If you're going to go with Nashville, it would be Roman Josi. If you can get Roman Josi at probably 85 to 1, 100 to 1 for Conn Smythe, that's the same situation as you're looking at with Fox because the guy's playing 30 minutes a game.
Yeah. Did you say Fox was plus 9,500?
6,500 at FanDuel.
Wow, it was 9,500 yesterday. Wow. I have a screenshot and everything. Holy moly. Do you think maybe if big bets come in, it immediately will shift that much?
If the book has flagged you as a respectable bettor. But hey, at the end of the day, honestly, keeping your account from being flagged is very important. So when we're out here betting random point parlays and parlay this and parlay that, it kind of masks the scent of a sharp bettor as opposed to someone who's just hammering money lines at close with 25 points.
You just did the worst thing ever. You gave people the green light to parlay anything and everything. They're like, I gotta mask myself. You guys are so
I don't
far
think I need to
from
give
their
your audience
radar.
any more
You
credit
guys, that's this is the equivalent of when you're watching some late night talk show and there's a beautiful woman on there and they're like, I'm just looking for a guy, and guys at home think, it could be me. No, it's not you. And you're not the guy on their radar. You've parlayed everything under the sun. And that's why you're a parlay pirate, and that's probably why you're here in the first place. But just know that is a possibility. You see many people do get limited, and I guess you want to stay off their radar. One guy I will talk about, I just wanted to bring this up to you. This is a claim of mine. There is not a scam superstar in this league, not a bigger scam that I've ever seen, and now people will get a chance to see it because it's under a microscope, it's the playoffs, than Jason Robertson. He is one of the worst great players I have ever seen. This guy can't skate. He's as slow as Pavelski. He can't penetrate. He's soft on his skates. He falls down all the time. And he's a perimeter point racker, a regular season perimeter point racker. And you can go back to last year's playoffs and see that whole line is dependent on Rupe Hintz carrying the puck and doing everything. So you want a long shot MVP? If that team's going to have a ton of playoff success, a power play one guy, a top line guy who actually his game translates to playoffs, 1,000% Rupe Hintz. And I will stand by that Jason Robertson claim as long as I am disgusted when I watch him play. And if somehow this makes it to Jason Robertson, I really am sorry. You're probably a great person. I speak in a realm of just this fantasy stats type of thing, not as an individual human being, but man, I hope the Islanders would never sign a guy like you because these are scam points that I see.
But I hope you're a nice guy.
It's tough. It's really tough. I would sit down to him and say, look, I'm a prick, man. I said those things. There's nothing I can do other than try to make you laugh in different instances. And if we go out, you'd realize, it has nothing to do with that. It's just in terms of what he's seeing on the ice. But he definitely didn't help my value out there. But I am not a fan. I think a guy like lower guys on their team, like Wyatt Johnston, who can be in hard on the forecheck. I just don't like that he gets branded as the star of their team.
But he gets bailed out because he has 3 great lines too, right? So he doesn't even have to do that much. And to your point, Like there's a lot of other value in other guys on that team. I think they're fantastic at minus 130 to win the series versus Vegas, who is trying to throw some people together who haven't played together offensively, and hopefully it sticks. And on the other side, have shit goaltending down the stretch with both Thomas and Hill just awful. And if Jake Ottinger's great, this team is gonna have a tough run and probably runs into maybe Edmonton in the finals. But guys like Jamie Benn, who are playing PP1, then that line 3 you're talking about with the Stankman and Wyatt Johnson, like this is a former MVP. Like he's a guy who could be up there, Conn, Smythe, if they're running.
I do want to say about that series, I fully agree. The one thing that's different about Vegas this year is some of those new additions like Hurdle. They haven't had a ton of time to ingratiate themselves with the lineup. On the flip side, I will not be surprised if Eichel, Barbashev, Marchessault play great, and then Stone, Carlson line play. It's not like zero familiarity.
Yeah,
I would be shocked. And then they also have that mental knowledge of knowing they went up 3-1 and then closed them out in Dallas last year. I don't think they're going to be overwhelmingly scared. Although, man, these two teams, along with, I know this sounds weird, the Kings have that style that I like. Big guys, 3 lines who can score if that line is playing well. And it just is a constant, you roll your lines and not wait for McKinnon every time, like the Avalanche seem to do come playoffs. And 2 of them are going up against each other. This series kind of can go either way, but you gotta like Dallas just a little bit because of the Vegas uncertainty,
And don't forget those Vegas block shots too. That was a good run last year. Just those guys just blocking a ton of shots, and it's another market that probably won't be priced accurately to begin the playoffs until some more numbers come out, but there's obviously a lot more adjustments as sacrifice is big in playoffs, and guys are stepping in front of shots a lot more than they're used to. And teams are just throwing shitty shots at net too, just to get things through, right? Like it's, especially when goalies are hot, like defense shots from the point, long shots, block them, let's go.
So I was telling Josh before the show, for me, this is country music. Like block shots are country music. There are people out there that love it. I don't know a damn thing. I look like a disgruntled pizzeria owner. You imagine me stepping into a Texas country. I just put spurs and, cowboy boots on me. I just don't fit the part. And this is one part of my game that people have asked me about. It's like I have no one-timer slap shot on the power play. You have those guys like Yager who, the thing that hurt them on the power play was they couldn't blast one-timers. I've just always neglected this part of the game, but my one mini contribution I can add for everyone, I know for a fact you guys made stacks of money on the Tampa Bay Lightning with me in the playoffs because as an Islander fan, I got to see them close up and personal back-to-back years, and then even when the entirety of the playoffs, when we took them to get to the finals and win the Eastern Conference, they deploy 2 different defenses, and Cooper has admitted as much. Regular season defense and postseason defense. They throw themselves in front of shots in a completely different clip than they do during the regular season. So if there are shot block exploiters out there, I would look at Tampa Bay to have some guys like Ciernak, who was blocking 50 shots a game during the playoffs. He would leave a game so many times because he blocked another one right off his knee and then would come back the next period just to do it again. So those Lightning are a team to keep in the back of your head.
So when you're looking at that market, look at guys that obviously PK1, even PK2 guys playing, not even guys that have to play 20 minutes. And there's a reason why the market only has 3 or 4 guys available, because there's some variance within it, and it's certainly a market to take advantage of.
One thing that I want to point out to people that I've noticed, coaches in the playoffs, they know there's no points. They don't have to worry about this. I know we've seen teams be more aggressive with their goalie pulls.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, that gets taken to another, like they'll pull the goalie and then it's a playoff game. They just don't care. You will get multiple goalie pulls. So what I will say, if you're a money line guy, I like this team on this. Many times, if I were you, I would do 80. Like if you really like a money line, I would do 80% on a money line and then another trickle on a puck line and then another trickle on -2.5, just because of, it's something that stood out to me, especially in the first round these previous couple of years, the early goalie pulls, and who cares? It's a playoff game. If we lose game one, who cares? So you're going to see some calculated sniffs out of me to do -1.5 over 5.5, just because those extra goals might put it there. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to do this all the time, but it's something to sprinkle off to the side if you happen to like a team in a particular game.
Got it. Some other cool markets we're looking at. Total road wins. I know we're running long, but 365 has total road wins. When you look at a team, when you look at that Colorado-Winnipeg matchup, Colorado's great at home, right? Altitude's amazing. It's nice to beat up on teams who aren't used to playing at that altitude. Well, on the other side, Winnipeg's going to be great at home because Colorado's got to be one of the easier teams to match up against just because of the lack of depth they have within scoring. Under 2.5 road wins in the series, -110. I'm taking some of that too. There's so many markets. Find some things that work.
I'll add a little sprinkle onto weird markets that you guys haven't thought about, and this isn't even an actual bet. It's a 2B bet. All year, if you take shots on goal, you live and die by what you took. That's just what you got to do. I took the under 2.5. He's got 2 after a minute. I'm screwed. But the playoffs are the one time you're allowed, as long as everything stays the same. And from what I've seen, it's returned. FanDuel offers period by period shots on goal, but you can't take unders. You can only take March or so for 2 shots in the second period or 1 shot in the second period. So if you can strategically pick some correct unders and you're scared in the third period, or you want to guarantee yourself money, or they lower McKinnon's to 3.5 and you take a huge plus money under 3.5 and you want to hedge some of that, the only time you could ever hedge shots on goal, as of right now, you could always hope that they introduce more features, is during the playoffs. So if you like any shots on goal props, feel free to take the unders. I know people hate clicking on unders, but you will have the opportunity to hedge come playoff time on FanDuel if you want to go that route. I'm going to be experimenting because I started doing that during the Stanley Cup final last year. Didn't get a chance to do it this year. That's something I'm going to try again this year.
All right. Fantastic. So things kick off Saturday. Late Saturday, all day Sunday. Can't wait. That Sunday is the best day in hockey. Or that full day, the first day that they have everything from 12:30 to 8 o'clock. So that's going to be hungover Sunday. Let's just watch hockey all day.
Oh, 1,000%. In that Tampa series, you're leaning Panthers, right?
That's the Panthers -1.5 at plus money. Like, John Cooper scares me. I get it. But, like, Florida just has so much depth everywhere. Like, Sam Bennett is an asshole. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but nobody wants to play Sam Bennett. But even that third line in Florida.
He's like me to Jason Robertson.
He's you with worse hair and more orange or red, whatever you want to call it. But, like, Anton Lundell, the Listerainen, and the Evan Rodriguez third line, I don't know anybody other than, like, Dallas that can match up against that.
So I wanted to give you the one reason that they might lose. Actually, there's 2, because there's always Vasilevsky's been in their head before. That sweep, I truly believe the last time we saw the ultra elite Vasilevsky was games 6 and 7 against Toronto, and then that following sweep against the Panthers. They swept them and they had to wait 2 weeks to play the Rangers, and it was all gone after that. And I truly haven't seen the brick wall since. But the other thing is the Panthers are one of the most undisciplined teams in the NHL.
It's exactly what Carlo said today. Versus the best power play in all of hockey. Is that gonna change Florida from being as physical as they are because they're scared of that power play? That's the only way Tampa Bay can beat them. They have no scoring depth. Stamkos
They won't be scared. They won't be scared. It's the refs, by the way. If the refs want to let this be like a early 2000s series, Panthers are going to win. If Tampa gets a good amount of calls, I've seen that power play in the playoffs. It's not one of those that just withers away. It's the polar opposite. They're vicious. So that's the way. 5-on-5, nobody thinks. Like, if you were guaranteed this series was 5-on-5, everybody knows who's going to win. The question is that power play penalty kill matchup. So that's something that I think is going to determine that. And then I guess lastly, I wanted to show you some big ones that I thought were worth mentioning because, I was just a regular guy flipping through the pages. Now, those were the 2 line mates. I'm going to go with 4+ series to reach Game 7. Now, yes, you can remove the Islanders series. yes, you can remove the Rangers series. Outside of that, I nearly believe every single one of those. I think the Edmonton series is going 7. I think the Winnipeg, Colorado's going 7. The Tampa one has 7 potential. I don't think that's one of the ones that's most likely to go there. The Vancouver has 7. The Vegas has so many. I believe every single other one can go to 7. So I do think I have a little bit of leeway. I can miss. But all these here, Toronto, Boston, any one of those could go to 7, and I just like the value on that. It's something that I don't mind taking a calculated sniff at. Yeah, you can go 3+ for 100, but I know these savages want the higher payout. So those are the ones. Yeah,
you know your audience
those are the
so well.
ones that I focused. Oh, here's just a generic walk down the street for a +180. I'm picking the Predators to split the first 2 and then win that first game at home. That's +180. I think that's a good value. Next up, we got this is piggybacking off the what I said about Adam Fox potentially being like MVP. If Panarin doesn't have the best series like he's done in previous years, or he has a good series, especially if the power play is running well, you know who's tied to all those points. Adam Fox. So I think him at, what is that? It was +800?
Yeah.
+800 for most points in that series. Because if you watch guys like Kreider, Zibanejad, I think they're limited as well. Like, we know how the Rangers are 5-on-5.
That Trocheck Panarin 2-point is hard to get considering how much Panarin scores.
You can't take that one. It's like
no, I know, but like Panarin's amazing. He's always pointing, but Trocheck just never shows up on the thing. Same with the Kreider Zibanejad one. They just never put it together. But that's what I mean. The Fox looks great at that number. I think if you want to go on the other side, same thing. Roman Josi in that Nashville-Vancouver series. If you can get that at 10-1, which I think it's somewhere around there, for him to lead that series in points, great. Another one I like, Brad Marchand for 1,200 plus 1,200. He's not on Pasta's line because you don't want the double overlap, right? In that situation, so you don't want the double overlap, so you get him, and just his game does not fit well versus.
I think I have that. Oh no, I didn't have that one. So I chose the same exact thing on the other side. Isolated William Nylander, where he is on the power play, and it's probably going to be Marner with Matthews, and you'd I guess run the risk of Tavares.
Exactly.
Tavares, when you're looking at Matthews and Marner, and then Tavares and Nylander is way more likely to separate himself from Tavares, who isn't touching it on the perimeter as much on the power play and whatnot. So I took Nylander. It's not as great as odds as Marchand, that's for sure. But I just thought he was a calculated gamble.
And I think there's a blowout game in that Toronto series for Boston, just because of how shitty Toronto's defense has been. Samsonov's been awful too. There's a chance that there's a 6-1 Boston game in there.
All right, this one is a wild one. I just happened to see them on ESPN, and I think one of these 3 is going down. I just don't know what, because I think these are more than fair. Brett Burns, I don't know if anybody ever watched this guy play. He is like a lumberjack out there. Well, he looks like a lumberjack, but he also shoots like one. He's been way down with his kind of shot selection this year. But I think come playoffs, we're getting vintage Brent Burns just blasting everything under the sun towards the net. Over 1.5 shots on goal in every game. Who knows? The series might be short. Plus 650 to just blast 2 shots at the net.
I know its market went down to 2.5, but this was a guy who used to be 3.5.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, end of this video, that'll be down to plus 300. And then the unfortunate thing about Natchez is not top power. Did you call them the
Ass Army? What was the reference of last time? Yeah, it was the Ass Army.
For who?
For the listeners, for your sniffers, the Ass Army. What was your?
I mean, I got.
Oh yeah, everyone's trying to be that ass.
I have so many nicknames for these people. I actually can't see on my screen because I have too many things on. What's the third one about Aho? record a point in every
Sebastian
game?
Aho of the Islanders to record a point in each game.
Yeah, right. He's the worst player. It's so crazy. The worst player in the series and the best player in the series have the same exact name. It's like a true bizarro world type of situation.
If that goes 6, he's not getting points in 6 straight. Like, it's a good bet, but that Brent Burns one is way better at plus 650.
Yeah. So I noticed all three. What I was going to say is one of these three I feel is going down, and they're all over plus 300. Yeah. So that's something
that's amazing. No, that Brent Burns one is legit awesome. Because, I mean, Carolina just dominates the Corsi Fenwick game. Like, the shot attempts, they just dominate. No one dominates at 5-on-5 like they did.
Yeah, so we're going to get that one in. And then what do I got here? I guess this is going on to your Brad Marchand to score over 2.5 goals and have over 2.5 assists. I don't know why that stood out to me. I don't even know. I normally don't take things like that, like just for such low odds.
It's a 7-game series.
Yeah, I know the rat always comes through once or twice in a series, and I just feel like when all is said and done, by hook or by crook, in a series that will probably, like you said, have a beating, 3 goals and 3 assists after the way they went out last year, you should see a big series from Marchand. Anyway, those were some weird ones that kind of.
No, but those take time to find, right?
Yeah, it's weird because all the sports books offer different random NHL. I don't. Shouldn't they be paying us to come up with that? Imagine me and you sitting there. What should we give these people? And remember, your job is to make people lose.
No, my job is to get people to bet because the books think if you bet, eventually you're going to lose, right? Here's some great information. Cool. Now I'm going to bet this and that and parlay this and that. That's what they're banking on people to do.
Oh, man, I could concoct some great ones to tease people. I know they would all start with Jason Robertson.
Yeah.
All right. Unless there's anything else that you want to mention that came your way.
Conn Smythe, plus 25,000.
I will say that using as a piggyback what Josh said about picking the Conn Smythe winner. If you like teams to go to, you like 3-4 teams. Yeah, take some players on those teams. The value is beyond absurd. You don't have to put a lot, just little sprinkles, and there are things to root for along the way. You have some rooting interest in a
Charlie
team
Lindgren,
to continue on.
Plus 30,000. Plus 30,000. If they're winning anything, it's Charles. Most places don't even have a plus 30,000.
Is there one for any other player?
No, that's it. He's right at the bottom. Yeah.
Pavel Dorofeyev.
That's a good one too. That's a good one too.
That's fine. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I guess I'm going to be seeing a whole hell of a lot more of you after the Stanley Cup. So that's the current plan. Once the Stanley Cup is over, then the very next week we'll head right into some Monday, Tuesday videos for the MLB, and we will try like in a game show fashion. You ever see those game shows where it's like the person has to not laugh as somebody else is doing things in front of them? Josh has to make me get excited and enjoy baseball with a variety of bets. Hopefully the type of bets that you people will enjoy and the baseball fans will also. Are there any of those left? Did you see the stadium yesterday? I saw on Twitter there was a stadium that had considerably less people in attendance than will be watching this YouTube video about hockey. Did you see that?
Right.
There was a doubleheader or something. And I don't follow any baseball accounts. I just saw an embarrassing picture of there was a doubleheader or something. The first game had 80 people in the crowd. 80. How many employees work at the stadium? I mean, I hope I'm not like clickbaiting, and I hope I wasn't tricked by some scam account who just posts anything. But I'm nearly certain. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. What do you want me to do?
You're not sorry.
I'm not. Because I told you, I don't know a damn
Would have been
thing.
Kansas City, Chicago 2 days ago, I would assume.
Chicago
Cold,
sounds
sweat,
right.
No one wants to go. Yeah.
Chicago sounds right.
Yeah.
I think it was a day game in Chicago. And yeah, you have the kids are in school. But anyway, so that's what will be coming up for you in a couple months. We'll see. It'll be a tall order for you, Josh, but I know if anyone can do it.
Make Andy hate baseball less.
It will be like I know what it will feel like to be one of the people who watch these videos for once, because Lord knows I don't up until this point. But Thanks again for coming on. Good luck with all your playoff stuff. I don't know if I'll talk to you. Well, I'll talk to you, but I don't know if you'll be on here before the end of that and before we start the baseball show. Thank you for introducing me and everybody who watches these videos to the 2-point props. Much appreciated. I look forward to stealing another one of the things that you bring to the table and then make the odds worse for you after presenting that to us.
Can't wait to give away more edges on the show to you and the sniffer. So I appreciate it, but big thanks though.
No problem, man. Take it easy. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.